As the leader of Uruguay, my goals for the year 2014 are to greatly reduce the incidence of illicit child labor, increase spending on police and other law enforcement sectors, and reduce government involvement in the financial sector. Too many children in this country are engaged in extremely dangerous work, and too many of them are severely injured as a result. The 2009 National Child Labor Survey, conducted by the National Institute of Uruguay, found that 6.1% of children between the ages of 5 and 14 were working. 6.1% equates to about 32,000 children in Uruguay being involved in illegal labor, and many of those 32,000 are frequently put at risk at the workplace. Addressing this issue is the first part of resolving this issue, but now we must act. I plan on increasing the amount of inspectors and the frequency of inspections in rural areas where illicit child labor is most common. This will include unannounced random inspections at varying times over the year. Also, there will be the establishment of programs that will be focused on providing the assistance of child laborers and the implementation of harsher penalties for the violations of Resolution 1012/006, which deems specific type of work hazards and restricted from children. We will also increase funding to law enforcement establishments for the purpose of increasing the number of personnel patrolling their respective areas. This will facilitate in combating the urgent drug addiction and drug smuggling problem that our country currently faces. There will be more law enforcement officers at the borders that separate Uruguay, Argentina, Brazil, and Paraguay, as it is suspected that most drug smuggling activity occurs in these areas. Stricter policies will be implemented regarding the passage of foreign and Uruguayan citizens into the country of Uruguay for the purpose of detecting illicit narcotics and other drugs. A similar policy will be enacted at the port of Montevideo, where contraband detection capabilities will be improved. This includes, but is not limited to, illicit narcotics and other illegal substances, unregistered firearms, and other items considered contraband. Hopefully, this action will help in reducing the rate of crime and drug addiction occurrences in our nation. Uruguay has made substantial progress in reducing poverty since the mid-80s. Our social performance now ranks among the best in Latin America. However, pockets of poverty and unemployment still exist, and in recent years have shown some increase. The deadly combination of weak demand, low skills, and high family dependence put our poor in a position of vulnerability and risk. Two new phenomena are emerging in Uruguay, and we must not ignore them. The first is an increased concentration of poverty in specific neighborhoods. This contributes to their marginalization and also adds tension and challenges to poverty reduction. The second is that the needs of particularly vulnerable groups are becoming more pronounced. Urbanization is on the rise in Uruguay, as we are 90% urbanized, and in this process of urbanization, we must not leave anyone behind. 40% of Uruguay's children are born into poor families, pointing to a serious problem of intergenerational poverty. This threatens us with irreversible poverty, and we must fix this. A dual strategy of improving the investment climate and enhancing growth while investing in human capital via education and other means of building capacity is the ticket to assisting Uruguay's poor. Debt remains at relatively high levels, and although we have made progress in the trade diversification, Brazil still accounts for a major share of exports along with our other regional partners. This is a factor of vulnerability. Another factor we must take into account is inflationary pressures arising from the strong internal demand and the rise in price of commodities. Our priority should be to achieve higher investment levels and improve the competitiveness of our economy, especially with respect to productive capacity and infrastructure. In order to do this, we must reduce state interference in the financial sector, as it hinders the development of a more dynamic growth in our company. All this will contribute to our vision of a greater Uruguay.